Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by the head of Matchroom Boxing, Eddie Hearn. And I always say I'm delighted to welcome people to Seconds Out, but I really mean it this time. It's been ages, and it's so good to have you back. How you doing?
I'm good, mate. No, I know we're overdue one. A couple of messages going backwards and forwards. I'm really good. I mean, I'm just recovering from last Saturday. I'm about to go into the bubble this afternoon. Unfortunately, now my period of not testing is up after testing positive. So I'm having to retest now. It started last week. So, yeah, about to get some more stuff stuck up my in my throat and my nostrils. So not looking forward to that, but really looking forward to the show this Saturday.
Good stuff. I just want to touch on last Saturday before we move on to next week. I thought it was admirable that you came out after the Martinez Barrett decision and criticised the decision and said something needs to be done about the standard of officiating because we're worried about fighters coming back to the UK, particularly once the pandemic is over or at least tapers away, because then there's more competition for these boxers and more opportunities for them. What can we do about it? And have you had any discussions with the board since that talk on Sky?
I don't think they're probably very happy with me. I think that I just felt that it was difficult because I didn't feel like I was throwing Zelfa under a bus. I would have, if you asked me who won the fight, honestly, I would have thought that Zelfa just nicked the fight. But I just felt that I can't be seen to not tell the truth. Everybody saw it. And I would be a bit of a fraud if I told you that it was a good decision or I could see how the judges could get that score, because I couldn't. And again, it was difficult because I got my fighter to my right, which I will always have his back for. But at the same time, the sport, it's bigger than just a guy, winning by a close margin or a wide margin. We have to have these judges held accountable for poor decisions. And it's a difficult one as well, because I really respect the Border Control. They really are a good commission. And I actually think we have some of the best officials in the world. But everybody has bad days. The problem is scoring's subjective. So a lot, this was bad. The Lewis Ritson one was really, really bad, like worse than this, right? But the problem is you call people in to explain their decision and they give you their explanation and then the board goes, okay.
Yeah.
And again, these are good officials. I think Steve Gray was one of them, excellent referee, good judge. But the problem I have is that when no current or ex-fighter, no current or ex-trainer, no pundit, no fan, no one in the world scores the fight the same as the two gentlemen at the ring, how is that possible? I know it's subjective, but and just like a football referee, I mean, there's plenty of football referees that have a bad night. They still have to come in and explain their situation. So the board are a very stubborn but loyal outfit. They really like to back their officials. And like I said, we do have some of the best officials in the world, but sometimes people have a bad night. And I do think that, you've got to remember how many fights are taking place. And people pick this up as, it's another one. Okay, well, the last stinker we had was in October. All right, granted, it's only 5 or 6 months away, but it's not as regular as some places. But it still has to be justified and there has to be answers. And in my opinion, I couldn't see a way that scorecard was justified, even though our man won.
So what is the situation with the board? Have you spoken to Robert Smith at all? Because like you say, they always come out and say, he's explained his scorecard, we're satisfied, it was his honest appraisal of the fight. But no one's well, there are people questioning that, but I'm not. But it's whether it's a competent and accurate scorecard that seems to be the issue. And I'm hoping that you, as the most powerful promoter in the UK, according to Panorama, among others, that you'll have enough influence that they'll actually do something this time.
Yeah, I don't know. It's difficult because, again, I don't think the board like to be influenced by promoters, and they shouldn't be too much, So if I say to them, I think you should do this, they'll almost go on the back foot and say, "Oi, you stick to your own business, like thinking you've got all the power to come in here and tell the commission." And by the way, it's really important that we don't have any power with the commission, because then it does become, the question marks begin about monopolies and, all this kind of stuff. So I like the fact that they ruled on us. But Robert Smith came up to me after the fight and said, I thought, almost like, I thought he won that. I said, yeah, so did I, but not by 7 rounds. That's the problem. And again, it's not corrupt. It's nothing to do with dodgy scorecards. It's just, I don't know whether it's a preconceived idea. I mean, it was the kind of fight, wasn't it, that it's one or the other that you like. Do you like the relentless, pressure of Kiko Martinez, or do you like the movement and the slickness and the extra power of Zelfa Barrett? But there's no way you couldn't have give Kiko, I don't know, 4 rounds, 5 rounds. I mean, I felt that Zelfa won a minimum of 6 rounds, right? But did he win 7? Possibly. Did he win 8? Did he win 9? Did he win 10? I mean, I think they gave Kiko 2 rounds and a draw. So for me, it wasn't on. And the reason that I spoke up was I get it in the neck. Not the ball. It's Eddie Hearn's fault. And actually, apparently, I employ the judges and I control the sport and all this. So I felt like I had to stand up for us, for boxing, to say this has got to improve.
Yeah, I think everyone agrees. Let's see how it unfolds.
I was very popular for 5 minutes. It was actually, I was looking at
Must have been an alien feeling for you.
And going, bloody hell, look, they're saying I've done well. So,
it won't last. Don't worry. Let's touch on Josh Warrington. I guess the first question is, who made the match? Who's getting sacked in the morning?
No, I mean...
Was it you?
No, well, I don't ever make the match. I put people forward for the teams, and ultimately the teams will approve the opponent. Not shedding the blame, but we all felt that this was a good fight. It was a guy that has never proven at world level, hasn't got any real kind of reputation out of Mexico that a lot of very good fighters do coming through. I sent him to Steve Wood. I sent him to Josh Warrington and his dad, the head trainer. Everyone looked at him and said, good fight. We knew it wasn't going to be a stroll in the park. He didn't want a stroll in the park. In fact, we turned down the Spaniard, Adonis Gagi, I think his name is, who Selby boxed, because we all felt he wasn't good enough. Well, Sunday morning, we said we wish we would have gone with Gagi. And well, yeah. You know what? The funny thing is, this is so similar to the Andy Ruiz fight with AJ, and I actually spoke to Josh this morning, Warrington, and I can't tell you the similarities when you look back of the feeling in the changing room or fight week or, the intensity or so many different things. And when Lara won, of course, you do question the decision to choose that particular opponent. But then you speak to people in Mexico who are like, we can't believe it. It wasn't like, but this was a bigger upset than Andy Ruiz over AJ. Andy Ruiz is a world-class fighter. Lara's not really proven to be a world-class fighter. He's done that now. But what he could do was he was heavy-handed, but you can't, I see some people criticise the matchmaking. It's like, oh, they don't know how to steer the fighters. It's like, hold on, what do you want? So you want me to steer a fighter away from danger?
I called it a mismatch.
Yeah. But so did I knew it wouldn't be a mismatch. Listen, I didn't think he'd win, but I knew the kid would come with energy and he would try and he could fight. And, but isn't that what you want? I don't get all this thing about, they don't know how to match over there. What? Because one of our guys lost. Do you know what I mean? One of our guys lost because he wasn't mentally focused for the fight. He hadn't boxed for 16 months. I think the occasion, the atmosphere compared to his usual occasion, and he was reckless and he paid the price. That's why he lost. But as I said to Josh Warrington, when we had the same feeling with AJ against Andy Ruiz, and actually, funnily enough, Don King phoned me before that fight and said, fight Trevor Bryant. He's the perfect guy. From New York, I'll be there, blah, blah. I said, Don, AJ will knock him out in a round. Oh, but to them, isn't that what you want? No, we want a good fight. We have a product here. We're taking Anthony Joshua to Madison Square Garden and sold out the arena, and you want me to pick an easy fight that goes 1 round? No. Josh Warrington, same thing. Our broadcasters are paying a lot of money. So what you're saying is, someone said, oh, well, why did you choose a puncher? So what do you want? A shit fight against someone that's no danger? I mean, we have a product to protect. We have a sport and a brand of we have to make good fights. And again, whilst he was a 10 or 12 to 1 underdog, we knew that he would come to win, right? Now, as I said to Josh Warrington today, like Andy Ruiz, I had the same feeling. Should we have chosen him, right? Or was it a bad style? And then you do the rematch and AJ wins every round, right? And I said that to Josh Warrington today. So the only thing that Josh Warrington is thinking about right now is the rematch, right? And it's super early days. I mean, it was a brutal fight. I've not seen, some people might say, well, he didn't really have his senses. So was it brave or was it just, no, that was one of the fucking bravest things I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it was horrible to watch, Danny. Horrible to watch, because in that atmosphere with no noise, it's harrowing, right? And that's something that actually, there's certain things that I've experienced watching boxing that have lived with me throughout my whole life. Jim McDonald getting knocked out by Kenny Weiss at the Royal Albert Hall probably 30 years ago and being stretchered out of the ring unconscious. Of course, Chris Eubank, Michael Watson, Spencer Oliver getting knocked out. I think it was Olympia Earl's call, taking it off. And it's like, and that was one of those moments. I was so pleased. He come out the ring. Of course, he was hurt. He was dazed. And we got him straight to hospital. And I can't tell you, once Steve Wood messaged me and said he's on his way back to Leeds, everything's clear in the scan, because it was, and again, I feel a bit sorry for the corner team, of course, which is his dad. Now, it's very difficult to make that call. Should they have pulled him out? Should they have not? And actually, I watched the fight again last night. When he went down in the 4th round, I thought to myself, watching it live, the referee should have stopped the fight, 100%. His legs just weren't there. When I watched it back last night, the ref did say to him, are you okay to, and he looked at him, he went, yes, I'm okay to continue. Now, he had his senses, he didn't have his feet.
Exactly that. He was lucid, but his legs were wobbly.
Yeah, exactly. But he was responding. Do you know what I mean? And in that situation, I don't know, that's a very, very tough call. But it was, I'm proud of Josh Warrington. I said to him today, it's funny. I said, before that fight, you were a hero in Leeds, but when you're so popular in a specific city and you represent that city, it's very difficult to be popular elsewhere.
Sure.
I said, now you're a hero everywhere, mate. I said, and I know you didn't want to lose the fight, but fuck me, what you showed in that ring, no one can't be a fan of. So now, and he's suffering, one, he's aching, but two, he's wounded, because he's a winner. And I said to him today, what you have to do now is you have to take this hurt, and this is exactly what AJ did, and you have to use that as a driving force to come back. Remember how you feel now, how sick you feel at defeat. Use that to come back stronger. I said, now we've got to look at this as exciting. This is the road back. Before you're on top of the world, you've fallen off, mate.
Was the reason for defeat similar to AJ against Ruiz in that he got caught early and hard and never truly recovered?
I think when you fight someone who can punch and someone who's game, you have to be prepared for war. Do you know what I mean? And your body and your mind has to be prepared to go to places that normal people can't go. And I said to Josh Warrington today, it's a bit like when you watch AJ Klitschko, right? If you look at what AJ went through in that fight, if you look at the shots that AJ shipped on the chin from one of the biggest punchers in the division, and you know how good Josh Warrington's chin is. I mean, it's just fucking unbelievable. But when the body's not prepared for that, and that might be the lack of crowd, that might be that you just weren't up for it. You thought it was going to be an easy night, easy mistakes to make. So yeah, in that respect, I said to Josh as well, you tried so hard to recover, but you just couldn't. And that was the same as AJ. He got up, 3 or 4 times. He was trying, but no matter how hard he tried, you can't recover from what is essentially, and this is a controversial topic, but what is essentially concussion. Let's not beat around the bush. This is the fight game. And you are going to get buzzed or concussed or whatever the medical term is officially, but that's going to happen in a fight. He also perforated his eardrum, Josh, which was double trouble. You know, we know how difficult it is to get your balance in that situation. So, but it's done. It's done. There's no point crying over it. You've got to come back stronger, and I really believe he will. And the rematch is such a big fight. I said to Josh again today, you know, obviously on a different level of the heavyweight world championship, but you've gone from, you know, for me, the rematch is a bigger fight than the Kanzu fight now because of the intrigue, because of your career is absolutely there in the balance on the line. I said, and you have to understand, Josh, if you lose this fight, I don't know where no, I ain't losing this fight. I said, good, I like that talk, but understand this, you must win this fight. I will win this fight, you know, and it's very exciting, but it's very dangerous because again, like the Reese fight was dangerous. Whenever you get stopped, Dillian Whyte, Povetkin coming up, same thing. You know, the momentum, the mindset, the psychology, it's very difficult.
Now let's switch focus to this Saturday. Absolutely incredible main event for regular Sky Sports. Fight I've been looking forward to since it was first made back in 2018. And I was talking to Uni about this last night. Do you think, given how, you know, he hasn't got a lot of experience as a pro, do you think he's quite underrated still, Josh Kelly?
Yeah, but I think because he's blown a little bit hot and cold. And I think the problem is, when you go back to matches and matchmaking, the Ray Robinson fight was an example of, you know, that was a super tough fight when actually maybe he was never going to get the credit for that win off the casual fans, or if you like, or even the semi-hardcores, because only the true hardcores know how good Ray Robinson is. You know, we know, if anyone watches, Ray Robinson beat Kavaliauskas quite comfortably in their fight. He got robbed in that fight, right? So, and Kavaliauskas had a decent fight with Crawford. He actually knocked out Avanesyan as well. So that was a tough fight and a fight that could have gone either way. I felt like his performance after that in December was quite lackluster. It was a nothing fight, really. But these are the kind of fights where you see what fighters are made of and you see how good they are. And I've never seen Josh Kelly in this kind of shape. I've never seen his weight how it is today. I've never seen Adam Booth so confident. But how fucking exciting is it, Danny? You know what I mean? Like, we build these fighters up and we have a job to do in that respect. You know, you go back to, you got a Matchroom right coming through. Yes, we have for prospects. But when you get the chance to go, now, let's see. That is so exciting. And this fight, honestly, I haven't been as excited for a card as this Saturday for quite a long time, which is mad. But I've just, and I love Marku against Charlton. And again, people don't realise that Jordan Gill and Robbie Davis Jr. have another 2 wars with 2 Mexicans this weekend. But it's like, I'm so intrigued by this fight because if Josh Kelly goes in there and demolishes David Avanesyan, which can happen because he's that kind of fighter, he becomes a star on Saturday night. And then we got, look, listen, he looks the bollocks, doesn't he, Josh Kelly? I mean, who wouldn't want to be as handsome as him? You know what I mean? So if he can fight like he looks, then he's going to be a star. But these are the kind of fights that make stars, you know? So this is really a lesson to all these fighters coming through from that Rio Olympics and that era. These are your breakout fights. And like anything, if you're not good enough, you won't win. But that's okay. There's no shame in that. You can come again or you can find another job. Right? But this is such an intriguing matchup. And actually, someone asked me today, I did an Instagram live, who do you think is the favourite? And I said, I have to be honest. I said, maybe last year I felt like Avanesyan was the favourite. But seeing Josh Kelly and how focused he is now, the shape he's in, I do think he's the favourite going into this fight.
And it's such a good main event. When someone asked Ryland Charlton on yesterday's Zoom calls if him and Marku would steal the show, he said no. He said, I think we'll have a good fight, but, I'm really looking forward to Kelly against Avanesyan. Which speaks what a nice guy he is, but also how good the main event is.
Yeah, look, Marku Charlton, let's get it right. It's 2 prospects who are looking to break out and become a level of star in their own right. We all know Florian Marku has crazy support from crazy Albanians in the UK and, of course, in Albania. And Ryland Charlton has a lot of support now and respect because of his performance in the weight corner against Joe Laws. He won't take a step back, and nor will Florian Marku. So this isn't a world-class matchup like Avanesyan Kelly, but it's super intriguing, and you're going to get bundles of entertainment, not just in the press conference tomorrow, but in the ring with two guys that will put everything on the line, everything. So that's going to be a lovely little appetizer for what is a, let's also put the main event into perspective. It's the European Welterweight Championship. It's a world-class welterweight matchup. Both of these guys are top 15 welterweights in the world, in my opinion, especially Avanesyan, because he's proved it and he's there. And Josh he's the one that's got to come out. But I've just got a feeling that, he's going to take the bull by the horns. And don't be whatever I'm going to say, I can't remember. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if you see Kelly stand with Avanesyan and try and knock him out. I don't think he's going to run. I saw a piece today, Avanesyan, will Kelly run? I don't think he will.
Well, Carl Reeves said yesterday he'd be shocked if he stands with him, but from what I've heard from Josh in the last few weeks, I wouldn't be surprised.
No, can't wait.
It's a great fight. Now, I want to whiz through a few other bits before I let you go. I don't know when I'm going to get you again, so I'm going to make the most of it. AJ Fury, how close are we? It seems like you've been saying couple of weeks for a little while.
Yeah, I don't want to say too much on it, Danny, because again, it's boring people, and of course we are very close, and it's nice to have a little bit of a space before an announcement. So look, all I can tell you is we're working really, really hard. We have, as I think Bob gave an interview the other day where Bob tells me stop talking about AJ Fury, and then I wake up and he's
can.
I know. Yeah. And he basically said, we're down to the final small points, and we are. So, I'm not going to say too much on it other than we're really working as hard as we can to get that closing announced.
What do you make of the recent pictures and videos of Fury and the shape or lack of that he's in?
I don't think, I think before he goes into any main camp, he doesn't look like AJ ever.
No.
I think I said to AJ the other day, fucking hell, see Fury jumping in the sea. Look like me. And he was like...
But you're doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah, I know, but he's sort of like... the response from AJ was, we're going to get the best Tyson Fury. So I don't care if he's carrying a little bit of weight now. I'm training for the best ever Tyson Fury. And, make no mistake, Fury will be in top shape for this fight. We've still probably got maybe 5 months to go, 4 or 5 months. He hasn't even started camp yet. I think the impressive thing from both these guys is they haven't stopped training. AJ since his last fight, and he don't want to stop training. I've even said to him, mate, what about a little bit of warm weather, go and relax a little bit, warm weather training, I don't know. No, I'm fine at Finchley. And he's sparring, he's training, he's preparing for the fight of his life.
Now, a question I'm sure you will have been anticipating, but one I feel duty bound to ask. We saw the Panorama documentary a couple of weeks ago. I'm sure you've seen it, focusing on Daniel Kinahan and his involvement in boxing, or at least in part about that aspect of his character. Just want to get your thoughts on it, because he's someone you have worked with, albeit probably at a distance at times, but he's someone who advises fighters that you have to work with. There's no avoiding him. What do you make of him and his impact on boxing?
Well, I think, I had a lot of questions about it. It's never good for someone to portray boxing in a negative fashion like they did on that show. I think that, it's no secret that he's been working in boxing for a number of years, working for some high-profile fighters. And as I said, in Panorama, we provided a statement. I have no problem answering questions on it. And every fighter has a right to appoint an advisor, a manager, a team of people to handle their career. And when we're making a fight, we will deal with the person who has been elected, if you like, by that fighter to deal with. So at times there have been occasions when he is that guy. He is the advisor or the manager. Sometimes a promoter will be dealing directly with him and you'll be dealing with the promoter. So the story on Panorama to the boxing circles had been told last year, of course, when Tyson Fury, obviously who is advised by Daniel Kinahan, came out and said that, he made the fight and he was involved in that. Of course, the backlash was incredibly strong and he took a step back. And since then, all our negotiations have been with Bob Arum. He's the one we send the contract to. He's the one we get it over the line with. So, not shipping the question, but I want to focus on the positives for the sport, trying to bring it to the levels of creating these huge super fights like AJ against Fury, trying to put on these great schedules in the pandemic. And, like I said, it's fighters will appoint an individual to advise them or manage them, as they would a lawyer, as they would a promoter, and that is part of their team.
And something else you haven't been shy about discussing, but maybe a slightly delicate issue, is the imminent end of your relationship, or at least for the time being, with Sky Sports. The contract's coming to an end. Discussions are taking place, from what Adam Smith has told us, about a renewal. I just want to get an idea of where your head's at with that at the moment. DAZN have launched in the UK now. They're your global partner outside the UK and Ireland. Incredibly good value as well at the moment, I have to say, as a Sky and DAZN subscriber. What are you thinking at the moment ahead of those negotiations?
It's obviously at the forefront of our mind. You know, we've got a few things on the priority list at the moment. One is keeping boxing alive during the pandemic and keeping the momentum. One, of course, is making the biggest fight in the world. And the other one, of course, is finalising our UK deal moving forward. It's probably not as, say, urgent as it may have been in other times, because we've got so much on our plate. Of course, we're talking to Sky about finalising extension, and we've had an approach not just from DAZN but from a number of other UK platforms inquiring about the possibility of meeting and discussing and working together. So, you know, I find it, I don't want to run my mouth too much publicly, because I have a huge amount of respect for Sky, and they've done such an incredible job, not just across boxing, but across all our sports at Matchroom. I mean, the truth is, Danny, that without Sky, boxing would be dead in the UK. And they have helped us grow our business to an incredible size. And also, you know, when you look at sports like darts, you know, their creativity, you know, their vision as well has enabled that sport to grow to incredible heights. So I'm looking for, of course, you know, money is always important to make sure the fighters can get what they deserve and our business can be sustainable. But for me, I'm after the vision, you know, the vision of taking over boxing globally. And that doesn't just sit with, you know, the DAZN model, but that's the movement from our business. And we need a broadcaster in the UK that has the same vision to grow, to be creative, to be expansive, to spend the money, to put on the big fights, and continuously invest in the sport of boxing. You know we launched Matchroom Media. We are looking to take a stronger hold over the documentaries, the shoulder programming, and the live event production as well. So we've got some very difficult decisions to make over the next few weeks, and you know we've become a very powerful partner. You know, to the point of now, you know, we have a number of approaches, but we're in a position of strength because we've built the platform. A lot of the time, as a promoter, you rely on a platform. Well, we've built our own platform, but we're bringing that to the partnership now with a broadcaster. So, you know, we feel like we're in a strong position. We've worked extremely hard, and the deal's got to be right. And as I said, we've always had a fantastic relationship with Sky. But of course, for the business and for our fighters, we will look at the best option for all of us.
I mean, forgive the crude analogy, but it sounds very much like Sky are the first girlfriend, if you like. They're loyal, you've grown together, there's a real bond there. But now DAZN are here, they're the sexy new model, and maybe have a bit more to put into the relationship.
Well, that's an interesting way of putting it, Danny. I think that, you know, the work that we've done with DAZN in America and globally has been incredible. I do feel that one sport, one platform is an incredible model, you know, to expand the sport globally. But Sky are incredibly powerful in the UK. You know, they have an unrivaled pay-per-view platform. And, you know, again, the ability to cross-promote sports, cross-promote boxing across other sports. And also, you know, a huge following digitally and socially. So, yeah, I think, you know, and like I said, the approaches have been interesting from many angles and different platforms. And whilst DAZN and Sky are obviously the front runners, there are other parties that are right up there as well. So again, normally at this stage, I would have this deal done, but with everything going on, you know, I think it's going to be probably well, it is a priority, but I think the next few weeks we'll be in a position to secure our future.
It must be nice to be in that position, though, to be kind of another crude analogy, the prettiest girl in the room getting kind of fought over by, the.
We worked very hard for that, and we wanted to get boxing to a position. This great news for boxing, because whoever gets us has had it off. We are powerful. I'm talking about the sport. I'm talking about Matchroom. I'm talking about me. And when I say powerful, I don't mean walking down the street thinking you're. I'm talking about we drive subscribers, right? We drive social and digital numbers. We create value for money for subscribers and customers. So to lose us would be a blow, and to get us would be a major win. And that's very important for boxing and for Matchroom, to make sure that we can be in a position of strength. And we are, but we aren't arrogant about it. We also understand the value of a great partner.
Given that unparalleled success, I think a nice way
the questions, mate. I'm sweating it.
Yeah, no, last one. I think a nice way to end this, given what you've just said, would be to give you a rare opportunity to shout out some of the unsung heroes at Matchroom and maybe don't get the publicity they deserve. So just tell us who are the kind of unsung heroes at the moment.
I think there's a guy called Eddie Hearn. He's unbelievable.
I don't like him, but
I think that the team, people don't realise the size of the team now. We're having meetings, Danny, about our growth globally has got to a level. We're a family business, and all of a sudden now, we get approaches for IPOs, and it's got to a level, and it's flattering. But we keep the same drive and we keep the same passion that we've always had. When my old man started in a broom cupboard in Romford, so when you look at the team here, the team does an amazing job, and I'm bound to miss someone out. But of course, my protege, Frank Smith, who will eventually be taking this thing over when I get more grey and more fat and more bald, and start having to have responsibilities in other areas of the business as well. He's one of the best operators in the sport. This is a guy who's been working in boxing since he was 16 and has done everything from selling international TV rights to securing sponsorship to fighter contracts to purse bids to visas. He understands every facet of the business. Ross Garrity, who runs our commercial side, branding side, and who also chips in now as a little bit of a matchmaker himself, because we do that all together.
So you pick Laura?
No, I picked Laura. He blamed me for that one. John Hill, ex-Haymaker, who runs our operations. The females doing an amazing job. Bella Gay, Alex Braga, Mandy Fox, and Karen Mazzone, who've been here a long time. And then the social media and digital department, Scott Hamilton, done a brilliant job. Daniel Barnard, Jamie Ward, Adam Insam, who's our head of design. Again, I'm sure I'm going to miss someone out here. I'm just thinking, and in America, I'll also give a shout out to Darren Fleurs, our head of logistics.
Okay.
Used to drive me around all over the country. Now he's actually he's getting away with doing no driving now and just writing down who's got to collect people. So he's doing a great job across logistics. And you go into other areas of the business, like our American stable with Sean Palmer, our head of legal and operations and counsel out there, doing an amazing job. You got our matchmaker Eric Botcher, who's been around a long time. You got Sydney over there. You've got Anthony Lever, who of course, Lewis as well. Done a great job. And Kevin, of course. There's something, again, I'm going to miss out someone. I'm going to get told off. I'm just really focusing.
Kevin Rooney Jr., you mean?
Yeah, Kevin Rooney Jr. I think that's it. Sydney. I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to get in trouble. Brittany does even more now. I know, but there's so many people now. Honestly, Dan, when we started up, John Wishausen and Frank Smith. That was it. That was boxing. We've got an Italian department now, Chris Kirchy and all the team over there. We've got 30 people worldwide already, and that will grow very quickly. So, there are, it enables me to be the clown, if you like, who they just wheel out. You know, I'll go into the bubble tonight, and Eddie, you got to be down here for media at 10, and I'll just blah 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 blah. Get up there, do the press conference, and then they look at me and go, right, fucking go back to your room now. Let us get on with it. So we got a fantastic team of young people who share a passion, and we're all living a dream. You know, it's amazing to be a part of. It's amazing to be a part of this, and you know, Dan Newman, head of content in America. That was an important one to get in as well. Yeah.
On the buzzer.
Yeah, Mason Kiley. Oh God, he's our head of content in the UK. Yeah, so really proud of the team, and this is just the beginning. I always say, honestly, I think I always say 30%, 40% of where we're going to be. So just everybody keeps the same energy, and the future is very bright.
Great stuff. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you back on. Hopefully, we won't leave it as long next time.
No, all good, mate.
Good luck in the bubble this week, and we're looking forward to Saturday night.
Catch you soon. Don't miss it Saturday. See you soon.
I've got my Sky Q box all sorted.
Top man. See you later.
Mate. Take care.